Now we are going to demonstrate how to use the nebulizers, the Collison and the Bang with the system. First, pour in the test article and make sure that the stem of the Collison is about ½ inch inside the liquid. The level of liquid basically should not exceed about 1/3 of the Collison jar, because if it's too high, then the large particle trap here on the side is going to be is not going to be as efficient as it should be. So we recommend about 1/3 of the jar, and if it's needed for continuous operation, you can use refill, where fresh solution is injected in all the time at a certain rate. Okay, so the first thing, you have to adjust the height of the stem to be about ½ inch inside the water, and that is done by releasing the nut here at the top and then adjusting the height of the stem. When it's at the position, tighten up the compression fitting again by hand. Make sure that it's tight by hand, and you can, if there is a leak, it means that you have to tighten it further. And attach the attach it to the diluter using the procedures we explained before. Make sure that it can rotate, and attach the aerosol generator airline to the Collison. Click. So now you are ready to run the system. As I said before, with 24 ports, the system should be nominally run at about 12 liters per minute. Now that means we have to balance all the flows of the system so that they sum up to 12 liters per minute. So suppose we are running the Collison at, let's say, 4 liters per minute. 4 liters per minute plus 8 liters total as dilution air will give us 12 liters. So the 8 liters of dilution air have to be divided equally between air dilution 1 and air dilution 2. Dilution air 1 and dilution air 2. And the 4 liters per minute for the Collison have to be set by the mass flow controller. So the first thing to do to start the exposure, after we have to make sure that all the air lines are properly connected, turn the power on. So you will see the flow meters, dilution air flow meters, as well as the aerosol generation air mass flow controllers controller is on. Now, first, regulate the pressure of the system to about 20 psi, and then when you get the pressure about 20 psi, lock the pressure regulator in so that it can't turn anymore. Make sure that the two-way valve is in bypass air position, so pointing towards the bypass air position. That means that when we start the aerosol generation air mass flow controller, first the air will go through the yellow line into the diluter, so it's going to bypass the nebulizer. Okay, first is to turn on the 2 dilution air lines and adjust by turning the knob on each of them. Adjust the flow to, as I said, just divide 8 by 2 in this case to 4 liters per minute each, Of course, any number will be divided by 2 and the flow will be set equal on both lines. So now we have 8 liters total going into the system. We have to set up the flow of the mass flow controller. First, turn the air to that line on. These toggle switches, each of those controls the turning air on and off for each of these 3 lines. And we'll set the flow to the procedure to set the flow with a mass flow controller is outlined in the user's manual, but you also will be supplied with a simplified version, just a few steps that will help you set the flow rate very quickly. So now I'm going to set the flow rate to 4. Right now it's 2.269. I'm going to increase it to 4 liters per minute. The maximum flow you can use with the aerosol generator air is 6 liters per minute. So basically that maxes out the flow through the Collison. Okay, after we set the flow, in this case 4.5 liters per minute. So at this moment we have 12 liters per minute total going into the system, clean, breathable air, which are 4 through the blue line, 4 through the green line, and 4 through the yellow line. When everything is ready, so we see that the mice are in the tubes, everything is fine, all we have to do to turn on the aerosol generation is turn the 2-way valve position aerosol generation air. And so you can see now that as soon as I turn that the valve to aerosol generation air, the Collison is starting to generate the bubbles. And if you look at the outlet of the Collison, you can see a mist coming out of it. That's the aerosol that is going into the chamber. And if you pass your finger through it, you will feel it immediately getting wet. So basically, this is the whole procedure to start up the system, and all that remains to do is observe the panel, the system during your 3 or 4 hour session, exposure session, just making sure that these numbers are constant and nothing is changing, and also observe periodically the Collison. If the level of liquid goes down, you have to adjust the height of the stem. So at no moment in time should the bottom of the stem come out of the liquid. The alternative way of using the Collison, as I said, is to pump fresh liquids continuously. So in that case, you don't need to adjust the stem. You simply inject, small quantities of liquid periodically to keep the level constant. Now, at the end of the exposure period, the first thing to do is switch from aerosol generation to clean bypass air. So the reverse of the startup procedure. So the first thing, cut air to aerosol generator. As you see, it stopped bubbling. And at this moment, all 12 liters are through the diluter. So through the 3 dilution lines. The next step is shut down the air to the aerosol generation line. So now the yellow line is shut down, and let the system purge basically with clean air for about 10 to 15 minutes. This will give animals just clean air, and at the same time will remove all the residual aerosol that remains inside the chamber. After this 10-15 minute period, remove the tubes one by one, put them on your transportation cart or wherever they need to be stocked up, and you can take them to their living cages. So after you have removed all the animals, all the tubes, plug all the ports as you remove the tubes, and at the end of the procedure, shut down the two dilution air lines. They fall immediately to zero, and then turn off the power to the panel.